I know SEO can be kind of a black box. It can be really daunting, but it's really fun. And once you start out, like baby steps, everything will be great and you will totally be able to optimize your site and see improvements. Okay, wonderful. So let's start out. Our agenda for today, I'll give a little introduction about myself. We'll talk about the who, what, when, why of SEO. I'll explain briefly about how Google works. We can talk about finding the right keywords, what tools to use, understanding and analyzing search intent, comparing and prioritizing keywords, and then we'll have time for questions. And I think this deck will be available to everyone after. And I've left a few recommendations and some resources at the end of it. If you want to go through, if you want to learn some more about SEO, feel free to look at the deck. Okay, awesome. I'm Amanda. I'm an SEO strategist at Hubspot, and I am mainly responsible for the Hubspot's blog and Hubspot's academy. So I help plan out the content. I help figure out what keywords to use, how we should optimize our pages, any technical improvements we may need to make. And I've been doing that at HubSpot for about a year and a half. Before I worked on the partner team. So I was working with marketing agencies at HubSpot, and my background is primarily marketing in tech companies. I've done email marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, but I'm really loving diving into SEO right now. A few other fun things. My hobbies include baking. I really like to bake, surfing, and I like to eat a lot. So trying new restaurants, probably like everyone else. If you're not familiar with HubSpot, HubSpot is a CRM platform with all of the tools and integrations to help your business grow better, whatever business size you are. Wonderful. Okay, let's jump into the who, what, when, and why of SEO. So, what is SEO? SEO stands for search engine optimization. It helps drive businesses, get them visitors to their site, and it expands a company's visibility on a search engine results page, also known as SERP. I'll probably be using that acronym a lot during this presentation, but it'll help get you visibility and increase your chances for conversions or sales. So everyone has a target audience, everyone has services or products that they want to sell, and you want to be able to be discoverable by your audience. And like everyone else in the world, people are probably Googling for things that they want. So you want to be able to appear on Google and reach that proper audience. SEO is important because your business, your website, everything has a goal, right? You want to make sales, close deals, and you can't do that without being discoverable. So, optimizing your site with the proper keywords and the proper technical aspects will allow you to appear higher on Google. Anyone can do SEO. It may seem pretty scary. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of different aspects to SEO, but you can start out with a basic understanding and grow from there. Anyone can implement the best practices, and you should always be optimizing your site. Otherwise, people won't be able to find you. And by always optimizing, I don't mean that you need to update your website pages every week or every month, but you should take some best practices, apply them to your current website pages. And when you start creating more pages, maybe you're creating more blog content or more product pages, you'll want to use those SEO best practices, apply it to that part of your website. And maybe if you haven't touched a website page in a year and a half, it would probably be a good idea to re-look at those keywords, see if you're ranking well, and what you can be doing to, update your page, get higher on Google. Great. And of course, you want to prove SEO is worth it. So you want to align your SEO efforts with your business goals. Your website will have basic analytics, and we'll talk about some of the tools that you can use later in the presentation. But organic traffic or traffic from Google, traffic from search, traffic from Bing, that will be a great metric for you to see how reachable your audience is or how visible you are to your audience on Google. So you can track your organic traffic. If that's going up over time, that's great. SEO can provide success pretty quickly sometimes, but otherwise, incremental success is always a good thing. Wonderful. Okay, let's get into how Google works. So, how does a site get onto Google? For your website to appear on Google, Google has to know that it exists. It needs to be able to find your site in the pages on the internet or on the web. So, it needs to be discoverable. Google then will scan your pages or crawl them to understand their topics. And then Google adds your website to its index or a database of all of the content it's found on the web. And that's how you are able to show up on the search engine results pages. So, first, you have to create your site. It needs to be indexable, it needs to be crawlable. Google has to find your pages and then crawl it, and then it can add it to its index. Um, Making a site indexable or having a site being able to be found by Google can take a little while, but after some time, Google will understand your site, it will understand your link structure, and your pages will be able to be indexed quicker. Okay, this is a Google search engine results page or SERP. As you can see, you have a query that you want to type in, and you have all of these blue links and all of these boxes that appear. So if it has an ad, like a little ad thing right next to it, that is a paid ad. It's not actually an organic result. People pay to be on those spots. You can have between like 1 and I think 4 ad spots. There's also these things called snippets or SERP features, and this is a people also ask. So if you're ever Googling things and maybe you see a bunch of images or you see a big card with a description, maybe you see this people also ask, a video carousel as well. Those are snippets or SERP features that Google will surface on the results page to help the user find their information quicker, more accurately. So you can see these on the pages. But what we want to talk about today is the organic results. And those are the blue links that come below the ads. And those aren't paid for. Google will find them. It will surface it on the search engine results pages. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. This is what we want to have those spots, and we want to be as high on the search engine results page or SERP as possible so that you can be discoverable by the right people. As you probably have experienced, people don't really go to the second page of Google. So you really want those top 10 spots. There's usually 10 organic blue links. Great. Okay, so how does Google rank content? Google's primary goal is to get the most relevant answers to people who are searching on the platform. So Google ranks content by 1, relevance, or how accurately does your website page answer someone's question, and 2, authority, how popular you are on the internet. And many metrics go into this. You shouldn't worry too much about authority as long as you have relevant content that thoroughly answer someone's question. You should be okay because relevance trumps authority all the time. So, this is an example of what a website page might look like, right? You have images, you have a header, you have videos, maybe some fun little graphics, you have links, and it looks beautiful to us. But Google does not see website pages the way that we see them. Google just looks at the source code. So, when you're thinking about creating a website, you have to think about what goes into your page. You want to ensure that your page has the right mix of content. Does it have a title tag, a meta description, a concise link slug? You want to make sure you have alt text for your images. Google can't see images, so it needs that alt text or code to understand what those images are about. You want to make sure you have proper heading structure and schema tags. Okay, great. Let me look at the chat real quick. No questions. Okay, wonderful. Let's talk about tools. So free and paid tools, depending on the size of your business, you can use free tools, you can use paid tools. Free tools You can get pretty far with some free tools. You don't have to fork out a bunch of money to get the paid tools. If you're a small business on a budget, there's a lot of different resources that you can use to make sure that you're finding the proper keywords and optimizing your site in a great way. Um, in terms of free tools, if you want to do keyword research, there's Google Keyword Planner, which I think is a part of their ads campaign like tool. There's also WordStream, which is another good free keyword research tool, and Google Trends, which I use probably weekly. It is a free search query trends like dashboard. So you could type in maybe a topic or a keyword that you want to target, and you can see how popular it is, where it's the most popular, like what region, what area in that region. So sometimes you can see what state it's the most popular in, and you can see over time how that keyword, how often it's been searched, which is really helpful. You can also compare keywords, which is great if you're trying to figure out what terms you want to use for a certain page or what terms and topics you want to target. In terms of free site analytics, Google Search Console is organic traffic data for your site. So that is very helpful. I'm using Google Search Console probably every week, multiple times a week. And then Google Analytics is just general traffic to your site. You can also get a lot of other analytics and data about your site on Google Analytics. In terms of paid tools, I use Ahrefs every day. That is my keyword research tool of choice, but I also use SEMrush. I know that both of them, I think, have free trials. So if you're ever like, oh, I would really love some of that expert, deeper insight for a short period of time, you don't want to spend a ton of money, but you can get some insights really quick. You could always do their free trials, which is great. And then for industry analytics, I use SimilarWeb. That helps me compare search traffic, search popularity between HubSpot and other competitors, and also just what's going on in the industry. Okay. If you don't want to pay for a premium tool, but you do want some of that extra awesome functionality, I recommend downloading some extensions. I use the SEO Pro extension, SEO Minion, and the Ahrefs toolbar. These extensions are on Chrome and allow you to see some extra like insight. So some of the extensions will analyze links, images, your schema, on-page SEO performance, and then the Ahrefs toolbar analyzes backlinks, which is essentially how many other people point to your page. It shows Google that you have high authority and that your content is relevant. The Ahrefs toolbar also shows domain rating, your URL rating, and referring domains. If you have any questions about any of the tools that I use or that I recommend, we can totally talk about it in the Q&A as well. Okay, let's talk about finding the right keywords. So you're probably familiar with the marketing funnel. I know that HubSpot is very popular for the flywheel, but the funnel still has importance. You have top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel, and you create different pieces of content based on what you're trying to do, right? You want to attract an audience, you want to kind of filter them through the funnel and convert them as either deals or customers. So you'll have your typical blog post website pages at the top of the funnel. You want those to be really generic and attract people based on a wide array of topics. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you might have your product pages, your comparison pages, your pricing page. So those are all important when you think of how to plan content and what to include on your page and how to do keyword research. Okay, so let's say that I'm a business and let's say that I'm a marketing agency. When I'm thinking of keywords, I want to start with my product. So, my product could be marketing services, maybe some facets of my product that I specialize in is social media marketing, SEO, and email marketing. Those are all a part of marketing services. When we think of broad topics or other things that I do specifically, maybe if I'm a marketing agency that helps with social media marketing, I could be great in Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook. In terms of SEO, maybe I'm great at technical SEO, or I have great subject line writing for my email marketing. So when we think about the content that you want to plan out, you want to look at the tree of your business, right? You'll definitely want to have product pages for each of the facets of your service. And then in terms of blog posts and other inbound content, you'll want to think more broad. So you'll want to attract an audience that just is searching for more broad things. And you can write blog posts about maybe, let's say, Instagram or Facebook. You'll want to use a keyword research tool to plan your content. So when you're thinking of product pages, you'll probably be pretty specific. But if you're thinking about inbound content, let's say Instagram marketing, you'll want to be a little bit more broad. And a keyword research tool will help you understand how popular that keyword is, how difficult it is to rank for, maybe what traffic potential you have, and other related keywords that you can use within your page to make sure that your page is relevant and shows up high on Google. When you're planning content, you'll need a primary keyword, also known as a short tail keyword, some secondary keywords or long tail keywords, and competitive insights from the SERPs. When you're thinking about content, you do not need to stuff it with keywords. You want to pick maybe one or two main keywords that you'll put on your page. Otherwise, your page can seem a little too like keyword stuffy, and Google can see through it. So it wants to make sure that it's surfacing the most helpful information to people. And you'll just want to focus on one or two keywords. Okay, great. In terms of guidelines, so if we go back here, you'll see I put in a keyword into my tool. We have volume, or MSV, which is monthly search volume, also known as how many times per month is this term searched for. You'll have your keyword difficulty, or KD, and then you'll often be able to have some other keyword ideas, which will help with secondary keywords as well. So when you're thinking about what keywords to use, your short tail or primary keywords, so this is like the main keyword of your page. If you're writing a blog post about Instagram marketing, your primary keyword or short tail keyword would probably be Instagram marketing. That should be a little over 300 MSV. It really depends on the topic that you're talking about. So Instagram marketing is very popular. It has almost 4,000 MSV, very, very popular. And so your short tail keyword can be anywhere between 300 and then pretty much anything in terms of MSV. Your long tail keywords, or your secondary keywords that you'll also want to include in your post, would be between 10 and maybe 200 MSV. Again, depending on the topic, could be a little bit more. Your keyword difficulty should be anything below 50. If you have a really well established site and you have a high domain authority, you can target keywords that have higher keyword difficulty, maybe in the 70s or 80s, but that's really for established websites. If you're just starting out, and you want to make sure that the content that you're producing has value, it gets seen, going for those lower keyword difficulty keywords will allow you to rank easier. And in terms of content, you'll want to see what your competitors are doing. What keywords are they targeting? Are they using images or videos? Do they have a lot of statistics or research in their page? And how long is their page? When you're thinking about planning your own content, you don't want to just go with the flow and copy what everyone else is doing, because you can't stand out that way. But you will want to see like generally what Google is surfacing on the SERP and try to match that a little bit to make sure that you are catering to your audience's needs. Okay, so we talked about planning keywords. Now let's talk about understanding and analyzing search intent. So search intent is what your audience wants when they're searching for something on Google. Like, what are their intentions? What are they looking for? What do they want to see? So this may look like a very long list, but it's pretty easy. I go through a checklist in my mind when I'm trying to understand search intent. First, I plug in the keyword that I think that I want to target into an incognito window in Google. And incognito windows are important because Google obviously knows what you search. And if you're a professional in the marketing industry and you search for your business a lot or you search for specific publications, Google will know that and it will prioritize those results or results like that higher than maybe it would for the average Joe. So when you use an incognito window, it's not infallible, but it will allow you to see better what the normal person might see on a search engine results page if they're searching for a specific keyword. So when you want to figure out what keywords to plan and what people are like, what their search intent is for a specific keyword, you want to look for what words are in the title. Is there a specific phrase that maybe you've typed in that's in the title, or is it positioned a little differently? If you searched marketing on Instagram and all of the results, their titles say Instagram marketing, that helps you understand that maybe you want to target Instagram marketing rather than marketing on Instagram. What do the meta descriptions say on the pages? This will allow you to quickly skim what people are talking about when it comes to your keyword. What sites come up? This is a really important one. So, are the sites your competitors, or maybe are they sites that you don't think really relate to your topic? And what audiences do these sites serve? So, for example, if I was typing in a query and I'm like, okay, I want to write a blog post on this, I think this will be great. I think my audience likes this. And I type in the query, and everything that comes up is maybe like a dictionary or Wikipedia or something really broad, that might give you the signal that you need to target something a little bit more specific. And you'll want to make sure that when you're searching for things, sites that are like your competitors or are your competitors are coming up. And product competitors can be different from content competitors. So maybe you have like 10 main product competitors, but you have like 20 content competitors that come up when you're typing for things related to your business. That is okay. It doesn't have to be your direct product competitors. Okay, awesome. What SERP features appear when you type in your query? So let's say I typed in something and a bunch of images pop up. Maybe there's an image carousel. That will help me understand when I'm planning content that maybe I need to include images. Maybe my audience needs some of that visual learning to understand a complex topic. Or maybe they need a video to understand the topic. If there's a paragraph snippet or a list snippet, those are little boxes at the top of the search engine that maybe show a list or just a paragraph definition that will help me understand what content to plan within the page. And it's always important to figure out what is appearing on the SERP and what your audience is looking for when you're planning your content. And then finally, what types of posts appear. So when you're typing in a query, you can see there are different categories of posts that often appear. Are they product pages for a specific product? Are they listicles or pages that have lists of maybe like 15 best tools? Or are they other typical blog posts? That will help you understand maybe if you wanted to create a product page for a specific feature that you offer, but you realize that a lot of listicles are appearing when you type in that search query. Maybe in addition to your product page, you'll want to write a blog post that caters to like the 10 best tools for X. Okay. So in addition to using an incognito window, it's a good idea to plug your keyword into the keyword research tool and review what comes up. Like I was saying before, you'll want to check if there's a different phrasing that's a little bit more popular, or maybe a different term fits your topic better. If I was searching for Instagram marketing, I see that there's 2000 MSV. But or marketing on Instagram has 2000 MSV, but Instagram marketing has almost 4000. So this phrasing is a bit more popular. And in order to acquire that traffic, acquire those search volumes, I probably will want to target Instagram marketing rather than marketing on Instagram. Great. Comparing and prioritizing keyword opportunities. So you'll want to return to your products. Obviously, you'll want to create product pages for the different facets of the services that you provide or products that you provide. But when it comes to inbound content or that more general content for blog posts, see what your business goals are this year. If maybe you are a marketing agency and you really want to lean into your social media marketing aspect of your business, maybe you have really high goals for that, you can start creating content around Instagram marketing, Facebook, how to do Facebook ads, LinkedIn, like what are the best ways to utilize LinkedIn for your business. Those can all be content ideas that you will use to lean into that social media marketing, attract people in the funnel with that tofu content, and then bring them down through middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel to convert them as either clients or customers. So you'll always want to start out with your goals and see where that takes you in terms of content. Awesome. And that is it for me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Does the free version of HubSpot offer SEO features?
I believe it offers some basic SEO features, yes.
Okay, I suppose the answer around that also depends on what you mean by SEO features, because, for example, the professional version of Marketing Hub is required to do blog posts, and obviously, if you can't do a blog post, a lot of SEO is around ongoing content production and a lot of the tools that are in there. I think the SEO topic cluster functionality is also a feature of professional, if I remember right. But there are some basic SEO features within landing pages, things like title tag information and all those basic things that you were speaking about just now. So there is some, but I think it gets better as you get. The more money you pay, the more you get, I think is the summary to that. Here's a good one. How do you keep top of SEO best practices, particularly when Google changes algorithms often? What do you think?
That's a great question. So I read multiple publications. I also subscribe to a lot of SEO newsletters, and I love Moz. There's a like feature or tool of Moz called Mozcast, and that will show you how volatile the search engine results pages have been. So that can help you clue into if there's been a Google algorithm update. I also read Search Engine Journal and Search Engine Land. I'll just skim those headlines every day. And you can also see if there's an algorithm update. If you're monitoring your organic traffic and you see like an unsurprising dip or an unsurprising spike, that could be for many reasons, right? Like SEO says, it always depends, but that can help you clue into if there might have been an algorithm update. So I would just check Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land, looking at Moz, and some of the other like SEO related publications or newsletters. Those are really helpful.
I probably vote for Ahref as a source as well. They write some fantastic blog articles, and they've got some free courses. So definitely recommend that. The other thing I would probably say, and please feel free, Amanda, to disagree with me, is as SEO has moved over the years, I think it's become less and less technically important to keep up to date with every single little change. And it's become more and more important to focus on business needs, quality content, relevance, the things that you were talking about, rather than the technical side of that. Obviously, there is a technical side, but it hasn't fundamentally changed that much. Where I see Google changing, it's just got better at recognizing the things that it always talks about as being important. So if you concentrate on those things, I would worry less about the latest changes. I mean, for example, that some of the latest stuff come through was relating to, site speed. Well, Google has always said site speed has been important, but it hasn't actually been a ranking factor until relatively recently. But if you listen to the early talk, then you'd have built yourself a fast site. And when they eventually get around to implementing those things, then you're going to be fine. I think that's the thing. Focus on quality, focus on user experience, and that's the way to go. How important is using concise URL slug instead of repeating the page title? And I think this is all about sort of URL length and as a ranking factor.
Yes. So, rule of thumb for me is I try to make sure that the slug is not over 5 words. So, Google prefers things that are shorter. So, 3 words is around like the sweet spot. I just repeat the primary keyword of the post. I focus on blog SEO, so I'll repeat the primary keyword of the post within the slug. So, if I was doing like a social media marketing blog post, I would do like blog.hubspot.com backslash like marketing for our marketing blog backslash social media social dash media dash marketing. And the concise slug, it's not a make or break. It's like a smaller, very small ranking factor, but I think it helps in terms of showing your audience what your page is about on the SERP, and also just helps everything stay organized. If your links are really long, like you have like 15 words, those are hard to share. Those don't provide a great user experience. And so you want to make sure that your links are concise, that they make sense, and it's a small, very small ranking factor, but I think it helps in terms of organization.
Absolutely. I agree with all of that. Um, this is a question that comes up a lot, and I'd be interested in hearing your twist on this. What if you're in a niche industry with a low search volume, something like below 300 MSV? I'm saying niche. If I say niche, I could be translated into Americanisms. What do you
Um,
think about small volume
Being
search?
in a niche industry, totally fine. You are probably serving your audience better when you have a niche, right? You don't want to be too general. You'll never get the proper audience. So that's what I was trying to say in terms of guidelines for MSV. If most of your terms are below 300, that's totally great. If you are able to find qualified traffic with 10 MSV because your audience is so specific, that is totally, totally wonderful. You should be targeting those specific keywords that will help you find the proper audience that has the right intent. So if you're writing about topics that have a lower MSV, just like shift the scale a little. Instead of targeting your primary keywords that have maybe like 500 MSV, look at primary keywords that have 50. And for your long tail keywords or your secondary keywords that you want to include in your posts, maybe go for keywords that have 10 but are really specific and really relevant to your expertise and the services that you provide.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. And it's also a function of the value of the product that you're selling, because if your search volume is really low, but you've got a high value product with a very long sales cycle, it's completely fine just to get a few leads coming through. It's all you need really for the business. You've got to take a business decision on what is valuable for yourself. There's another question here, and I'm not quite sure the meaning of the question, so maybe I'll read it out and you see if you can get some understanding. Is there any instance in which your search tuning out only dictionary searches is a good thing? For example, you could be a first mover in the space and get ranked highly for that search.
I think I understand what the question is trying to say. And correct me if I'm wrong,
What's the
but
search intent? Yeah.
yeah, I think if you, okay, so let's say you're trying to target a keyword and you're seeing that there's a lot of dictionary like results on the page, and you think, oh, not a lot of people are writing about this. Like maybe I'll be the first mover. I'll be at the top of the search engine results page. I'll get leads. I'll get people visiting my site. That might be true. Um, but you want to check the keyword difficulty. If you're thinking about something really broad, like let's say you were searching for um, like a new social media platform, right? And let's say it's like 20, I don't know, 18 or 2019, and you're searching for the phrase TikTok. You may be like, oh, I could be a first mover. However, if the keyword difficulty is really high, I wouldn't waste my time on it, because the bigger sites that are targeting that phrase that maybe have higher domain authority, or if Google doesn't really understand what people are searching for and they think people just want the definition, I would spend more time targeting those niche keywords that will help you get qualified traffic rather than thinking or hoping that you'll be a first mover on a keyword.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Google changes, its rankings for sites daily. So there's if you don't match up in terms of quality or relevance, you will get pushed down, even if you start at the top of the SERPs. Okay, question from Simon. We're about to publish a landing page, targets keyword phrases we don't rank for at all, not in the top 100. How do we know we are making progress? Do we have to wait until we hit the top 100, or can we tell before?
Okay, I'm going to repeat the question just to make sure that I understand. So you're publishing a landing page that targets a keyword that you haven't targeted before, and you want to see how you're making progress in terms of traffic. So I think what you can do is you can keep track of the organic search, like the organic search visits that are coming to that page and your site. If you're in the top 10 positions, you'll have way more traffic than if you're in like the 20th position or on the second page of Google or below. You can also use a keyword tool to track what position you'll be in. You could use Google Search Console, but really the top 10 positions are the ones that you need to be going for, because people aren't going to go to the second or third page of Google. So it can definitely take a while. It can take a few months before your page shows up on those top 10. But that is definitely the goal.
Yeah,
I hope that answered the
I
question.
tend to agree with that. It's very difficult to see. A lot of the keyword tools don't show you positions below position 100.
Mhm.
One of the things you might want to look out for is to start tracking longer tail keywords that you might rank for within those blog posts, because it's likely you'll rank for the longer tail ones first, and then over time you'll start ranking for the medium term ones, and then for the harder ones. So go for the easier ones, and they should start appearing first. Okay, Tamara, should each web page on my site have different keywords? Good question.
Yes, and each site should have different keywords. Otherwise, you can risk cannibalizing your own traffic. So if you're writing multiple blog posts about like Instagram marketing just in general, Google will get confused as to what you are talking about with each page, what's the difference, and it will rank your content lower. So if you have unique content for every different keyword that you are writing about, that is definitely the goal, so that you are not overlapping your content, you're not confusing Google, and people understand the intent of each of your pages.
There's also, this is one of the reasons to use some of the paid tools. So something like Ahrefs will show you if you're ranking, if multiple different pages are ranking for the same keyword. And one way, there's a couple of ways around that. One is that you could rewrite the content in the poorer performing page, or the one that you don't want to rank for, or you can use canonical redirects, which gets a bit technical, but effectively saying to Google that this page is not the core page, this is the one you should really reference. So it can get a little technical on all of that, but definitely you need to look at each page as being unique. Should I see what my competition is doing and using, and how will it help?
I would say yes. I look at what our competitors do every day. I want to see what types of content they're including in their post. And if they're ranking higher than a HubSpot blog post, I'm like, oh, what are they doing that's better than us? Like, how are they explaining this topic better? What does the user want to see? Are they using more images? Are they using more research? Are they targeting the keyword in a better way? So keeping a handle on your competition is really important. You can do that just by an incognito search in Google. I think that is the easiest and best way to do it, especially if you have a budget and you want to be using those free tools. But otherwise, you can also use paid tools to track your competitors' keywords and how they're performing. But I always go for the incognito window.
Absolutely. And also just looking at what other competitors are doing and the content they're producing sometimes gives you ideas, about your own
Mhm.
site and things that you might have missed, and things that people are asking about. What if I don't have content that fits my chosen recommended keyword? I think that question answers itself, but I will leave it to you to reply to that one.
Yes, I think that you should write the content if
Exactly.
you do not have content for your recommended keyword.
Yeah.
But in terms of prioritization, I think that is where a lot of people can get tripped up like, oh, I have all these keywords I want to rank for, and I have a limited amount of capacity for writing that content. You should first figure out what your business needs. Then figure out what your audience is searching for in terms of popularity. So let's say I have a bunch of keywords. I want to focus on social media marketing, and Facebook marketing has the highest amount of monthly search volume and has a low keyword difficulty. That will give me the biggest bang for my buck. You should start there. Keywords that have high MSV relatively for your business and low keyword difficulty.
Fantastic. Does a tool that monitors SEO for different languages exist? My website is available in different languages.
Yes. So Ahrefs can do different languages. I think SEMrush might be able to as well. And with those paid tools, you can also filter by what country you want to look at. So when I'm doing Ahrefs, I have some international SEOs on my team that target Spain or Mexico specifically. So they're able to filter to those countries. They're able to type their keywords in Spanish, and they can get that accurate data.
Fantastic. Does hosting your blog on HubSpot affect SEO if your website is external, presumably external to HubSpot? So I think the
Okay.
question there is the classic example is the website might be on WordPress, but the blog is on HubSpot. That's a Marketing Pro sort of standard implementation.
Yes. So this might be a little bit technical for me, but I don't think that it will be detrimental to SEO, as long as you're following those SEO best practices and your websites are like linked in a logical way. If you have people that are helping you with that development, you won't be penalized for hosting your blog on one site and your website on another, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's true. Google was specifically asked this question a number of times, and they've always said that no, subdomains will be treated as part of the main domain. I mean, a subdomain is where you've got the website, the blog dot website, as opposed to website slash blog, which was a folder structure. The trick here is that you need a strong cross-linking infrastructure between the blog and the main site, so that the blog is seen as part of the main site. It's easily navigatable. There's links to it. If that's the case, then Google treats them as the same. If they are completely independent with no cross links, then Google will treat them as independent sites. I think that's the way to do it. That's one I've just answered. Do you have best practice on how to use blog tags in HubSpot?
Yes, so I think this question is asking about like the topic tag feature, and that relates to topic clusters, I believe. So I would definitely, if you haven't read the blog about topic clusters on HubSpot, I would recommend that. We structure our blog with the topic cluster model, and we tag our content with the name of the topic cluster that we attribute our blog to. So let's say I was writing about LinkedIn for like marketers. That was the name of my blog post, and my topic cluster was LinkedIn. I would want to make sure that LinkedIn was tagged on my blog post in HubSpot so that the HubSpot product understands that this blog post is a part of this topic cluster, and all of the link equity and juice is shared between the two.
Absolutely. We're going to have to come to an end because we're coming up on our time. I will ask one more, and I think then we'll probably need to wrap it up because this is such an interesting topic. I know we could just carry on forever. Should we use competitors' keywords on our SEO strategy, or should we try and find niches where we could stand out?
I think you should do both. What we do is we look for keywords that our competitors aren't writing about, but we also run what is called a content gap, where we take our competitors, we look at their keywords that they're writing about that we have not written about, and we take those keywords and we write about them as well.
Excellent strategy. Listen, I'm really going to call it to an end here because we're just having a stream of new questions coming through, which is a fantastic thing. It means that people are engaged and there's a lot to learn here.